To everybody who watched my video saying Ines Raya is not as good as you think, oh, you guys are a bundle of joy. I love each and every single one of you. So in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to your amazing comments. And let me tell you, when I had fun reading these comments, oh man, I wish I could have grabbed some popcorn, thrown on a movie, and full screen these comments everywhere for the world to see, because these comments are absolutely amazing. And let's get right on into the comments. There's no intro, no nothing needed, boys. We're getting into this comment. This is going to be fucking fun. Personally, the fun factor is more important than efficiency. The dev said Ines is meant to be a mobbing character. Now, I 100% agree with this comment, by the way. Ines is a mobbing character, and after I learned what her second ability does, spoiler, it does literally fucking nothing, I was really impressed with Ines. I was so won over, man. I really wish I could use that second ability more. Not only does it eat my MP, but I have to nerf my damage in order to make it tech and work with my reactor correctly. This was my favourite part of that ability. And as you did say, Ines is meant to be a mobbing character, and once the Defiler boss does actually leave the game, I do think that Ines is gonna just be used for mobbing, and definitely not the first choice for bossing. Now, don't get me wrong, there will still be them special ed kids that will use Ines for the Swamp Walker, for the Obstructor, maybe for Deathstalker, but I feel like Deathstalker and Gluttony is too much of a wild card to actually use Ines properly, so I just think you should stick and leave it to taking care of the Grave Walker, you know, where she belongs. It's hard to take your opinion seriously when you say her second ability. I can't even tell you what for the life of me it does. Section.508. Seriously? Maybe learn what their abilities do before you make a video talking about the character's viability. Sorry to be harsh here, but you don't know what you're talking about. You're all over the place, and as someone said, you contradict yourself constantly and are just rambling. Ines is the strongest mobbing descendant in the game, bar none. Bunny and Freyna don't even come close. Her damage output destroys Freyna, both mobbing and bossing at the same time at the end of the 400%. And her movement is as fast as Bunny's, and compared to Bunny's boyfriend build, faster. I don't know what the fuck BF is. The only reason you would use her is for variety. I'm not sure if the point of this video was clickbait. Good on you because you called me to watch it. Honestly, bro, it wasn't even clickbait. I was just trying to get a point across, and honestly, I did not do it well. Watching it back a day later, I realized that, you know what, I did miss out quite a lot. So, you know what, your point is completely valid. Given ignorant ramblings in this one, that's fair. Completely fair. Now, let me talk about that a little bit. Ines is the strongest mobbing character in the game. I still think that is hotly debated, because Ines, with her fourth ability, if we were to use that for mobbing, is only a fixed circle. Now, you can throw 2 range modules on it, but it's still a fixed circle. The one thing I do personally absolutely love about Freyna's mobbing abilities is that if you use her first ability or her third ability with Contagion on, as you can see in this gameplay, I'm going down left, right, and center because I'm not trying. You know, Freyna's a 1 brain cell character, but so is Ines, and Freyna is making it a little bit easier because of one major factor with mobbing with her, and that is her range. Now, with Freyna, if you press 1 and you have an army of the Vulgus running at you, give it a few seconds and that entire army will be infected. Now, Ines will do damage to all of the army that are within her circle immediately, but Freyna's spread is something I feel like is a massive factor. As you can see from this Ines on screen, I'm basically infecting the entire circle and everywhere enemies spawn, whereas this Ines is just getting a small fragment of the pie. Now, I know not every situation requires for you to have a massive range, but the fact that Freyna's ability spread is what I think Freyna is specifically better. As for Bunny, Bunny is undoubtedly faster than Ines, and I'm gonna get into the speed of Bunny, Ines, and Freyna, and actually Keelan, because let's get on into our next comment. Now, I know you want me to talk about the trifecta of brain cells, and that is Ines, Bunny, and Freyna, so I'm going to dig into it a little bit. Now, the example I'm going to be using is a defense mission, because, you know, people will farm the Albion defense for gold, so that is a good thingy. Oh, sorry, not the Albion defense, just the special operations. So, let's talk about the 3 trifecta of the brain cell. Now, you have Bunny. Bunny, you will press the 2 button, the 3 button, and then you will hold the W button, and actually maybe somewhat occasionally pay attention to the game to make sure you don't run into a wall, and that is basically it with Bunny. Now with Freyna, you will press 1, you will press 3, and then you're going to go pick your kids up from school because your wife's going to be mad that you forgot about them, and then that is basically that. Now with Ines, you will press 1, you will press 1, you'll press 1, press 1, until you eventually have enough momentum and enough testosterone in your body to press 4. Then when you press 4, you are going to be really, really happy with yourself for about 5 seconds. Then you're going to press 1, and then you're going to press 1, and then you're going to press... You get the gist. I'm done with this. Now this comment is my absolute favourite. Skill issue. Keelan is faster than your little bunnies. I beat them all the time. Although he's not a bosser, he can bob with the best of them. You all hate on him because he's... You think you would escape racism in a game, but you can't because the hatred is in your heart. It's in your heart, dummy. Skill issue, man. Bro, I can't be racist, bro. My monitor's black, my keys are black, my controller, my microphone, bro. Everything is the color black. How is this racism? Where is the racism? Where is the racism? Bro's farming clicks. Before we had Ines, farming was slow. Infiltration clear times have halved with Ines, and as for Luna, there's nothing in this game hard enough that requires support, and Ines wipes the floor with Freyna and Bunny. Okay, so do you know when they added Ines into the game, they also deleted Freyna's first ability, her third ability, the contagion module, high voltage, Bunny's second and third ability, because before that, you are right, man, I was sitting here for 23 hours, 44 minutes, 33 seconds, and 22 milliseconds to try clearing Magister Labs on my own, man. I'm just nothing without Ines, man. I wish there was a Descendant as fast as Ines. I really wish there was. Oh, wait, hang on a second. No, man. Infiltrations were perfectly fine before Ines, I promise you. Even without Ines, you could still run an infiltration in perfectly good time. Halved is a very strong word. I would say at best, maybe knocked off 20 to 30 seconds. You were still able to get sub 2 minutes run on Magister Labs at 400%. Give or take, you know, whatever. Everything has been made slightly more efficient. I will not deny that, because, you know, that would be a fucking lie. But saying Ines half the times is a stretch. As for Luna and support, that is again wrong. People use her in Purge for fast clears, which is going to matter because the time is the completion, and the Defiler in a squad essentially requires Luna, otherwise you're just going to be there for much longer, and support is going to be coming front and center, I believe, in the new set of updates. When Void Purge becomes more difficult, either every single Descendant is going to get a buff to keep up, or support is going to come front and center and boost all of the DPS. That's just my opinion. As for Ines wipes the floor with Freyna and Bunny, you gotta admit, man, come on, that's a little bit strong. Freyna and Bunny are both very much capable, if not on par, if not slightly better in their own niches versus Ines. Bunny is still ever so slightly faster than Ines, and Freyna can also throw hands. Her mobbing abilities are just as capable. Her bossing abilities are still just as capable. To say she wipes the floor is a very strong statement, but I would not deny that they are all part of the brain cell trifecta, is what I'm going to call it, because they are all absolutely brainless to play if played properly. If you take out Molten Fortress, the third strongest boss in the game that also has strong resistance in under 20 seconds, the Defiler in 30 seconds consistent, I don't understand how you don't consider her to be in the top boss killers. And as to when it comes to mobbing, sorry, but nothing can be compared to clearing a 400% at the same time as her. Bunny and Freyna, sure they were a close second, but that's what they are. You might want to rethink about Keelan. Oh boy, I've got news about Keelan. But the hype was all about Ultimate Sharon at the time, so people forgot about Keelan. Honestly, rightfully so, man. Keelan fucking blows. But as soon as you start playing, you realize he's a good mobber, and he is able to keep up with most bunnies out there, and is a lot of fun to play. Now, I'm going to break this comment down into several different bits. First of all, I'm going to talk about bossing. As you said, Molten Fortress. Molten Fortress only has a strong resistance. Bear in mind, a few months back, we were still using, well, before Haley came out at least, we were still using Lepic for the Pyromaniac, which is very strong, and Lepic was still capable of destroying. So I disagree with the strong and the bossing aspect of it. And as for the Defiler, that is a hyper-specific boss. Whenever it comes to the fact that Ines is good for bossing. I've already gone over this. I do think she's only good for very, very specific bosses. Now, once the Defiler goes, Ines as a bossing descendant, I feel like that niche is semi going to die down. She will still be good for the Obstructor, for Swamp Walker, and maybe, you know, the occasional Deathstalker, depending on if you've got a pre-planned team. But the main problem with Deathstalker and Ines is that if you build Ines to tank Deathstalker's hit, she loses out on significantly too much damage, unless you are going in with 3 Ineses and a Luna, in which case is RNG, and you have to hope to God that Deathstalker doesn't take out Ines, because if he does, I'm coming for that ass, boy! Now, you say nothing can be compared to clearing a 400% at the same time as her. Now, you can still clear a 400% very fast with Bunny or with Freyna. And with Ines, it is just that bit easier. When you are playing solo Ines, this is a massive difference to playing Ines in a squad. Now, solo Ines, yeah, you have a very, very valid point there. Solo Ines is absolutely great for this sort of stuff. However, the dynamic absolutely shifts when playing in a squad. Now, a lot of players for this game are solo players, or you are like 90% of the public who suck at this game and require other people for help. Now, I'm joking, don't take that personally. But, you know, a lot of people do require help, which is perfectly okay. And when it comes to requiring help, that is when Ines, in my opinion, falls apart. Now, let's just put this into an example. Now, Ines is, as probably as of right now, the most played descendant in the game. And if you want to argue with me over that, you know, please have a reality check, because you absolutely need it, because Ines is everywhere. Enter a dungeon, you'll find Ines. Even enter Defiler, you'll find Ines. Majority of missions, people run just as Ines. So that's fair and that's all well. But if you throw 4 Ineses in a squad, this is where the big problem comes. Now, Ines relies on resources for her first ability, for her fourth ability, and her first ability helps her fourth ability build up said stacks. And when you have 4 Ineses fighting over the same 2 poor little Vulgus that are going to get their assholes ravaged, it's really, really not going to work out well for the Ineses. Now, like I said, Ines does rely heavily on her first ability, and you can spam that as much as you want. But when it comes to using the speed to basically run through the dungeons and all the other missions, again, that comes from her fourth ability. 4 Ineses working in one dungeon is not a reliable strategy. That's why it is still technically better if there's 1 Ines, 1 Freyna, 1 Bunny, and I don't know, flipping 1 Lepic, for example. Or 1 Haley, because, you know, Haley's a gangster. But my point here being that solo gameplay with Ines, fine. Group gameplay with Ines can be a little bit shoddy, and majority of the time, most people who want to farm 400% will most likely play online. If they don't, props to you. I'm not speaking of numbers or facts or anything here. This is just off my own experience. When I do play 400%, I do run into a lot of Ineses, so this is what I'm basing this off. Now, Bunny and Freyna being a close second, that's what I can accept that. That's fair. They've both got their own niches, and this is something a lot of people need to come to terms with. Ines is better than Freyna. Ines is not better than Bunny. Ines is better than Bunny. Ines is better than Freyna. Freyna is better than Ines. Ines is better than Freyna. Bunny is better than Ines. And Bunny is better than Freyna. Now, if that was confusing to you, that's right, because it's meant to be. Bunny will outperform Ines in a niche. Freyna will outperform Ines in a niche. Freyna will outperform Bunny and Ines in a different niche. It's that is what it is. They are the same, as I've said in this video, part of a trifecta of non-existent brain cells that people have, and they all outperform each other in a very, very slight way. That is something a lot of people don't agree with, and they just go ham saying Ines will absolutely curb stomp, which is just not true. So now we're going to get into my actual statistic testing, because this is something I really did enjoy doing. And oh man, when I tell you I had an adventure doing this, I mean I had an adventure doing this. So let's get on into it. Now this is a little bit of a bonus part of the video, and this is in no way a defying metric, but I just wanted to talk about Bunny speed, Ines's speed, and Keelan's speed. Now, as you can see here, I'm running with a friend Chocomin, who's a very avid Ines player. This man believes with Ines with his chest, and he knows in the ins and outs of Ines fairly well, I would say. And with this, we decided to run a little bit of a fun experiment. So we decided to run a literal race against each other. So we gave each other a little countdown and everything. I let Ines use her abilities for the speed buff and everything. And then we just straight went into running straight into straight in the Agno Desert. And this is the outcome of said race. So this is what happened. Now I let the Ines start off with the abilities, and then we went and got going as soon as her buff was active. Now even just raw here and there, Ines cannot keep up with Bunny. This is no way a defying metric like I said, but we're just going straight off whatever it is what it is. She's not too far behind, and with Ines's speed buff you are definitely able to almost keep track with Bunny. And there is also another factor I did want to talk about in this when it comes to her speed. Now her speed is reliant on her fourth ability, which in order to gain access to, you need to build up stacks or resources with her first ability. So this is somewhat of a limiting factor. Not saying that she's slow, she has to build it up, but this is also a limiting factor that I am going to talk about, because when it comes to abilities, there is obviously a little bit of variation. For instance, with Bunny, you just press 2, you run and you go. With Ines, you have to build it up, and then you have to use your ability, and then the speed kicks in. Now let's talk about Keelan. Before we talk about Keelan, I did also want to talk about one more quick thing. As you can see here, I am running a dungeon with Choco in, and as you can see, Choco is also nowhere to be seen. Now bringing it back to the basics, I am running at 250, so enemy spawns are not insane. Now I know people will be like, no one's running 250s anymore, you know, we're in 2025, it's all about the 400% and everything, but at the same time, you will at some point, for whatever reason, end up running a 250. And in this instance, Choco struggles because he is not able to find enemies to kill. Now, the original purpose of Bunny was to be an early game character that provided a fast movement, high damage, and that's exactly what she is. She is perfect at her job. She's also my queen and I love her to death. But her point here being is that she is simple, she's fast, which is her gimmick of course, and she is also able to very much rob kills off other descendants. This is an important factor going forward for when we talk about Keelan. But as for Ines, Ines is more than capable of taking back her own kills, as you can see, and we also chose this mission because lasers, and we forgot that they existed. But Ines relies on her first ability to build up stacks. This is just my point. If you rob kills from Ines, Ines is not going to go fast. She is not Sonic, she has a skill issue in this department. Now as for Keelan, he has a gimmick which is dashes. Now he has 5 dashes at once, which is kind of crazy, but he is also able to very much keep up with said dashes. Now in this gameplay, you can see Keelan pulling up with the dashes to keep up with Bunny in this instance. And he's overtaken me because, you know, I slipped on the rock. Hey ho, happens, is what it is. But this is where Keelan also suffers a problem against Bunny. Now, Bunny will rob your kills, as I've just proven against Ines. And Keelan also suffers from the same problem. Keelan relies on mobs to be in his vicinity in order for him to keep his ability like kicking and be able to spam the dash properly. Now I'm not a Keelan expert, so forgive me if I get stuff wrong here, or please do correct me in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. Now this, as I did say, does mean that Keelan is a fast descendant, absolutely. The fastest, potentially. But he also has a downside. Now with his dash, I've seen that you can spam it 5 times. And if you run like a max cooldown build, I've gotten fairly close to spamming it, but it's never truly been infinite. And I'm pretty sure his dashes do need resources as well. And you can only maintain infinite dashes after a short time of getting kills. Infinite dashes and just dashes in general are 2 completely different things. If Keelan is on top and he is bossing and destroying things, he is able to basically stack infinite dashes, which is very impressive. However, they require him to get kills, which means that if there's any other descendants in the lobby, ideally even a Freyna, Bunny or Ines, it is going to be fairly difficult for Keelan to keep up. Now, I'm not going to say Keelan sucks, because that would be very not kind to Keelan, and seeing as I'm already a massive Keelan hater, apparently, according to the comment section, I will be nice to him. If you want to play Keelan, do it solo. Solo, nobody's going to be in your way, and I don't doubt that Keelan would probably be one of the fastest descendants, getting a 400% clear, or just doing some pretty good stuff, but it would have to be solo. I just don't think his playstyle is designed to be used in a squad just the same way as Freyna, Bunny or Ines might be. Anyways, this run ended like kind of strangely, I'm not gonna lie, so let me show you the end of the run. So I ran this run against the Keelan, just a regular run doing what we normally do. I did ask him if I could put it on YouTube, but he was not very satisfied with the run. And then he proceeded to leave on me, which was kind of strange. And I just have to use this as an example, really, to highlight that Keelan is just not the best option when it comes to running in a group. Even against a single bunny, just using high voltage, I was just able to dominate and stop this man from taking his kills. And he got very, very upset, I think, or he was just not very satisfied with the results. And then he left on me. So, you know, this ruined my day. And I'm very, very sad now. But I've basically said everything I want to say. If you have any other criticisms at this point, just leave them in the comments. I'll have a look, probably in bed. And I'll grab popcorn this time. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy this skit. It's all a joke. Please don't take any of it to heart. Enjoy. And I hope you've enjoyed. Smash that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.